Hello, everybody. It's the Black Tower Podcast here to dispense your weekly dose of taint, to give you what you crave, what you need from us. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one. So I've got my rum and coke poured up, and we're ready to do this thing. And I'm Josh, the Sorro van Mahale.
And I'm Andrew, the Bajan Mahale, and our fantastic and lovely Amin Khan Mahale is out in the field waving a flag in support of something.
Yes, and he's waving it so good. He's so good.
So hard. Like he's got the color guard harness, that comes over the shoulder with the little metal cup that holds onto. And he's just like, he's waving it around like, what's the guy's name? He got in trouble for Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson. From Patriot.
He's going full Patriot with that thing. Yeah.
And then remember two extremes of Mel Gibson movies.
And then remember a couple weeks ago when we did an episode on customs and courtesies, and we talked about the Roofmistress custom of asking to enter the hold. Well, apparently when I gave an example of that, I was so convincing that Leia, the Roofmistress herself, decided she needed to take a visit to the Black Tower. So if everybody could welcome Leia from the Threefold Talk, the Madam Roofmistress, introduce yourself, please.
Well, I think that was quite an introduction right there. So as Josh said, I am Roofmistress Leia from Threefold Talk. It's a YouTube show that I have on the Malkier Talks channel. So if you just go to YouTube and search Malkier Talks, will come up as one of his playlists, and it's an Aiel talk show. we have a hard time categorizing what we really are. Is it a variety show? Is it a comedy show? Sometimes we talk about some serious stuff. We usually do whatever. The one consistent segment we have is what has happened in the Wheel of Time news for the week. Sometimes we talk about artists. Whenever Amazon Prime deigns to release information, we'll do a quick summary of that type of stuff. And we just have a lot of fun. So love our foldies, which is what we call our fans. And many of your fans are also foldies. So I love that intersectionality. And
good choice. Good choice, fans.
Yeah.
It's like a Venn diagram.
It is.
With my hands.
It's like an Ouroboros.
Ooh, that's a better one.
We no longer use infinity. It's like, oh, I love you, Ouroboros. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Dude, it means you read the Wheel of Time and you're awesome. Because
I would bend over backwards and bite my own tail for you is what it means.
Oh!
Oh, man.
Speaking of Ouroboros, can I go off on a tangent real quick? It's going to be fun.
Oh,
I promise.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be one of our episodes if we did.
I got something in the mail the other day that I feel like I need to share with everybody here. Now, for those of you listening, I will do my best
number 5
to describe it. Yacht number 5. How did you know? Spoilers, dude.
In the middle of Utah.
In the middle of Great Salt Lake, yacht number 5.
I mean, yeah, there's lakes in Utah. You could put a yacht in there.
Yeah. So remember a while back, the Wheel of Time was like, hey, buy our watch. It's a Wheel of Time themed watch. And it was like forever ago. Well, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, sheesh, I bought one of those, and it still hasn't come. And then all of a sudden, a package appeared on my doorstep. Now, I'm going to show it. So if you want to see it, you have to look on our website, or you have to go to our YouTube. But look at this. It's a leather thing right here with some snaps. It says the Wheel of Time. It's got the Wheel of Time logo, and it's got the Talker, the watch brand at the bottom. It pressed into the leather. Super, super fancy. Beautiful brown leather.
No, it's great stitching work also.
It's got the snaps. Oh, shoot.
And he breaks the watch.
It wasn't the watch. It was the spare. This is the spare wristband. And
that was
then
blurry as shit. Oh, well.
We're going to open it up. Here you go. You want to get another screenshot there?
Yeah. That's what I'm doing for our live chat right now.
Live chat. Okay, here we go. Here's the big reveal. I'm going to just take it out. I'm going to put it up there, and I'm going to peel off the plastic. You guys ready for this?
Oh.
Ooh, that was sexy.
It was a good peel.
Oh, man, I didn't bring my cast iron. I feel like I need it right now.
Have Can't get it to focus very well.
Right there, that's good enough. And okay, I got it.
I'm gonna put it on right now before I take it off. But this watch is dope. It is so cool. I'm in love with it. It is beautiful, and in my opinion, worth every penny of it. So, if you guys, yes, look at that. Look how fancy, and you can believe. Next time I'm in public and I'm wearing my black Ashaman Armani suit, this little bad boy is going to be there with it.
You posh motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm wearing my Wheel of Time taco watch with my nice Ashaman Armani suit. I'm just sitting over here
the devil may wear Prada.
I have a t-shirt.
But Ashaman wear Armani.
I love it.
Which terrifies my bank account when I look at getting the next suit.
So, yeah.
I didn't realize this was a fashion show.
Wheel of Time watch right there.
There's two of us.
It's a reveal tonight here. I'll post some high-res images on our Twitter and in the Discord and whatnot. But yeah,
it's beautiful.
super cool. I love this watch. It's super cool. So I had to share that with you guys because I know you guys will appreciate it. And now Gray Aja Sitter isn't the only one with some official Wheel of Time jewelry. Not that it's a competition, but
look, he's getting sassy.
If you're much like me and you want to enjoy Wheel of Time style stuff, however, you don't quite have talker style funds readily disposable because Bill comes around every month and steals all of my money. Head on over to blacktowerpod.com. It is your one-stop shop for everything Black Tower Pod. It has our merch store, and you probably definitely want to go and check out our section on New Creations by Jen because there might be something new and tainty there for you. Unless it's not live yet, and I just totally
No, it's definitely live.
Oh, it's live. So go check it out. There's a new taint dispensing receptacle. Well, receptacle is received, but you know what I mean. There's a new taint dispenser available. So go and check it out.
And if you're in live chat, I'm posting you the link right now. Wait.
Pretty dope. It's pretty cool. It's pretty sick. It's pretty tainty. It's just pretty.
So tainty.
Oh, we found Bill. It's Matt Stagger. Oh, okay. Now I know who keeps stealing all of my money.
Damn it.
What do you mean I have to make a car payment? I love how in the preview of the link, it actually has the 3D model rotating.
Right?
It's
so cool.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Really cool.
So go to New Creations by Jen and check out the new hotness. And when you take in your dose of taint, make sure you do it in style.
Yeah. And speaking of hotness, Josh, you got some hotness over there, and I don't just mean that luscious mane and beard.
Do I ever? What I have next to me, everybody, hashtag Taint Watch, is the habaneros that are currently fermenting. Now we're getting close to WatCon, and that means hot taint sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up and I'm going to give it a good smell and give you my impressions here. Okay, here we go. Okay, got the
I'm so nervous about this already, and I'm not even there.
Did you have flashbacks to like the military CS gas chamber?
Oh, did you guys ever get OC sprayed in the military?
Nope.
I didn't, but I got secondhand OC sprayed in high school.
Oh, yeah, no, I had to go through the whole fucking OC spray course, and that was absolute misery. And that is a story for another day because it's. But
I was that crazy person. We got done with the CS gas chamber, and my drill sergeant, our training instructor, because we have TIs in the Air Force, was like,
"That's right.
What'd you think, Wilson?" And I legitimately looked at him like I wasn't coughing or anything. I was like, "I want to go again," and he literally just looked at me, stopped for a second, and said, "Shut the fuck up, keep walking."
Do you know?
I actually did kind of want to go back there again because I was
oh
like,
god, no! I was like snot out of the gas chamber. I was just like snotting and crying and like. Every mucus orifice was doing its thing, and like, yeah, no.
I never had to do it because my base didn't. We didn't carry OC spray, Even though I was like military police, we didn't carry OC spray, so I didn't have to do it because we couldn't employ it.
Oh God, yeah,
But we
no.
did have tasers. That shit
Great.
sucked.
I
I
feel
got
it's
that
only
video around here
fair
somewhere.
to announce to the world right now that I never had to do the gas chamber.
So
Never
you
did the
didn't
gas
get
chamber.
OC spray.
You
You
just-
didn't, are you really in the military? Are you sure you were?
You just got post-service demoted to E4.
I mean, this is the Navy giving you
Congratulations,
shit.
senior airman.
This is the Navy giving you shit. So
Wait, you were probably in during a time where like E4 was still buck sergeant.
Wow, buddy. Wow. Okay, you know what?
When all the
Andrew's
master
grounded.
sergeant rockers were still underneath.
Andrew's
man.
grounded for the night. Shit.
Oh, all right. Last plug before we give you some protection for spoilers and we move into tonight's topic. You may see here in the background if you're watching this on YouTube, and of course, everybody in person, Josh, if you want to grab screenshots, you can. I don't know if they want to see Dubby, but Dubby is some fantastic jitterless energy supplement drinks that you can have. It's fantastic. It's delicious.
Hold on.
You can never
Hold it
get,
right
well, you
there.
can't get too much of it.
You can. You definitely can.
As Josh found out the hard way. But it's fantastic. They have 2 new flavors. So they have the Beach and Peach, which is a mango white peach cooler flavor. It's pretty good. And they also have a Passion Joy tea, which is a crisp passion fruit iced tea flavor. And me, as a Southerner, you know how much I love my iced tea, my sweet iced tea. So
There's something right. There's something so right with the world about a good sweet tea, though.
oh yeah.
oh yeah. But if you would like to get some W energy for yourself, and it is flavorful, so if you're looking for a good flavor additive for your adult style beverages, I have not done it, but it seems like a potentially safer, healthy way to do something like Red Bull vodka. I am not saying you should do that. I just saying, you're an adult, make your own decisions, but it does taste good. If you check out the description or show notes of this episode, you'll see a link that you can use that will get you 10% off. If you don't want to use the link and you just want to go to w.gg to check it out, use code BTP, Bravo Tango Papa, to get 10% off your order of W Energy drink. And every purchase made does, using our code does help support what we do here at the Black Tower Podcast. So, with all the plugs done, with all the introductions done, it is now time to give you your spoiler warning, your protection, to protect you from all the taint that's about to come out of this episode. And I have a feeling it's going to be a lot.
Spoileriness.
So without further ado, here is your protection.
This episode contains spoilers from the entire Wheel of Time series.
If you have not read the series, you are at risk of being spoiled.
You have been warned.
Yeah.
Michael and
beyond the
Kate.
series.
Oh, that was a short one.
Yeah, it was a short one. Michael and Kate are, they're to the point. They know what they're talking about. And when they speak with conviction and verve.
Yeah, I also just don't see them doing some of the more
Yeah, there's
X-rated.
there's some other versions of a spoiler
Yeah.
warning, but
So they're
Outside
on
their
the
usual.
PG-13, maybe creeping over into the R, like the low level R, but definitely not. Some of the
Maybe.
other.
Who knows?
who knows?
But Josh-
Who can say?
We have a topic that,
We do.
for one very obvious reason, is near and dear to our hearts. There's elements of it that are near and dear to all Wheel of Time fan hearts. This idea, or not, this continuing thing we love to do about theorizing about the Wheel of Time. Sometimes we go backwards, sometimes we go forwards. It doesn't matter. It's the same direction because it's a circle. There's no ending. There's a circle.
Yep.
Like on my watch. It's a circle. It's my own personal Wheel of Time.
Yeah, it is.
See this watch,
Yeah.
Andrew? See the watch, Andrew?
I do. I do.
I don't feel like I've ever seen it before. And then maybe
smells
next
like-
time I see it, I
It smells like a tank and a half of gas. Is what
Smells
it
like
smells
bourgeoisie.
like.
Tonight,
Smells like Karl Marx would be very pissed off right now.
And Josh got murdered.
This is going to be a good show. Okay. So tonight we are having a discussion, a who's who at the Black Tower after the last battle, but even broader than that. And this is part of the reason why we brought the Roofmistress in, because she hosted a panel for us at our last Gathering Madness concerning this very subject. And so we consider her to be a subject matter expert along with us as well. But I know that we're going to have some interesting conversation. Tonight's topic is the Black Tower in the Fourth Age. What are we doing? Where are we going? And why are we in this handbasket? Yeah. So that's it. So first off, I feel like we need to set a parameter, okay? Because the topic is Black Tower in the Fourth Age. And as we know, an age can be several thousand years. Now, given the fact that that unaided or unhindered, an Aes Sedai can live 200 to 300 years-ish for use of the one power. Yeah, I think it's safe to assume that men have the same kind of life span expenditure. So we're talking
without the Oath Rod.
That's what I'm saying. Without aiding or inhibiting.
It's like double that.
Oh, yes.
Because the up to roughly 2 to 250, 300 cap is Oath Rod.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it?
Because Cat's Wayne is kind of the weird one, because like there's a bit of an assumption that she was maybe released from her oaths when she retired from the tower.
And when the Aes Sedai encounter the Ken, they think the Ken are lying.
That's right.
The Ken are so old, and they look this,
Look, you guys are old.
Minus the agelessness, but they're like, what do you mean you're 500 years old? Like, what do you mean?
So we're talking a couple of generations.
So there's some in the Kin that live to be as old as 500 years, and it's assumed that like they still have a fair bit of life left.
And they're young seeming still.
Okay, so we're looking at 2 generations approximately per every 1,000 years. So we can discuss, immediately post last battle would be, generation 1 in the first 1,000 years. Generation 2 would be Logain's successor, and so on and so on. I feel like that's kind of a safe way to go about it. But I feel like Black Tower at the beginning of the Fourth Age is going to be very, very different from Black Tower at the end of the Fourth Age. So if we want to, I feel like what this is going to be is we're going to bring up like a thing that we think is going to happen in the Black Tower during the Fourth Age. And we will be able to discuss why we think that would happen or not happen. Does that make sense? Makes
a lot of sense. And do you want to bucketize it that way? Like, as we talk about the first generation being the Logain post last battle generation, and then generation 2. So as we're caveating things.
You know what? Maybe we do this. Maybe we do a couple points on the first generation and then go through that a little bit. And then maybe we say, okay, after all that, where are they at the end of the Fourth Age? At the heralding, at the ending of the Fourth Age and the heralding of the Fifth, where are they? What are they doing? Kind of a thing. What changes have gone on in the last 3,000 years? I don't know. Now, I'm also trying to say this because, like I said, Leia, I know you've got notes. you're a very studious Aiel.
Yes. Yes. If I was doing my exchange with the White Tower, I'd probably want to be, because of my illness, blue Aja, but I'll definitely have brown Aja tendencies. I'm like, ooh, let me get to your library.
So you've got a degree in blue Aja with a minor in brown Aja.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I go back to the waste.
Well, go ahead and kick us off then. What's one thing you think is going to be something that's happening in the Black Tower immediately after the last battle or during the first generation?
So it's more of a set of questions. First of all, post last battle, leading up to the last battle, there was still a major stigma against male channelers, even people who knew that that the source had been cleansed, still had a mistrust of male channelers. Do you think that stigma is still going to exist post last battle? And then how does the immediate culture move forward depending on your answer?
Do you want
I
to
think
hop
it
in,
does.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'll hop in. The stigma is going to definitely stick around. I mean, this has been the fact for 3,000-ish years that men go mad when they channel, that men channeling is inherently dangerous, and this will happen to all men. And you don't go through a cataclysmic style event like the breaking of the world and then easily just believe that the status quo for the last 3,000 years has changed and men no longer just will innately go insane and try to kill everybody and everything and destroy the world again. I think it's gonna have to very much be a showing the world that this no longer happens, which is going to be a bit difficult because you're going to have this first generation into the fourth age that are dealing with the after effects of madness, much like you have World War One and World War II vets dealing with things like shell shock, which we now call PTSD.
Yeah.
And things like that. They're going to have these issues perpetually. Now, of course, we do find out that people like Nynaeve and everything can do stuff to kind of heal and dampen the madness down a fair bit, but it's always still there. It's like a permanent scar on the mind. I almost said the soul, but I would imagine when you're reborn, the madness is gone. That would suck if it just stuck forever.
Yes.
Well, but regardless, the stigma is there. So even if Nynaeve is able to recruit, a legion of whatever Yellow Aja, and then just people who have the talent, because I'm sure it's not just Yellow Aja. I'm sure what she did has a specific talent to it. Capital T.
I mean, we'll look at the Aes Sedai. I mean, for the past 3,000 years, all Aes Sedai still have the stigma of it's your fault.
Yeah,
like the vast majority of the world that doesn't interact regularly with Aes Sedai. So you're more middle to lower class because most of the nobles interact with the Aes Sedai to some degree, unless you're like a High Lord asshole in tier and you hate them, or the White Cloaks, I guess, if you even want to consider any kind of nobility there. I wouldn't, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
That there's still the stigma against Aes Sedai. They're not to be trusted. They can't be trusted. They manipulate. They do all this. They work against the world for their own gain. And that's been what people have thought about them for 3,000 years. Even if most people know that the female channelers are not the direct people to blame for all of the craziness that happens after. I mean, they're not blameless, but that's a whole different conversation.
It is.
It's interesting. First and foremost, yes, I do. I believe the stigma will be there. We see this in our own culture and society. It takes a long time for society to grow, right? As evidenced by the fact that there are some biases and prejudices that still exist today in human society that are absolutely asinine, but it's, the wheels of change turn slowly. And with the Black Tower, as Andrew said, this is a constant. This is a known. People told stories about men who could channel to scare children. Like, it was known, if you channel, you're going to go insane and kill everybody. So now you've got a concentration of these men, and rumor says that the source has been cleansed, but I'll believe it when I see it. We're just waiting for that bomb to go off. And there's a lot of people who just aren't going to accept it. They're not going to trust it. They're not going to believe it. And that's something that, Generation 1 is absolutely going to have to be dealing with. Now, how are they going to
early Generation 1 though, because non-channeling human beings probably lived to 50, 60.
Yeah,
and a lot of people just got killed in the last battle. So
give it 50 to 60 years, and you're going to have a second generation of humans growing up in a world that has the question:
non-channeling humans,
are they not?
Non-channeling humans.
Yeah, non-channeling humans. Yes,
the Muggles.
Yeah, the Muggles.
It's all connected. As Twatcast says, it's a ripoff of Harry Potter.
Yeah. What is Harry Potter but the sixth age? I mean, come on.
Oh,
It's not a
interesting.
wand. It's an Angreal.
And
Get it
Star Wars is the seventh age.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that at a different podcast because like that gives me a lot to think about.
We'll come back to that later.
Tell me,
no, so-
Red. Do you know the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? It's not a story the IL wise ones would tell you.
Rand was the first like Dark Sith Lord. Like really, if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, Josh, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying I do like that, there's going to be a lot of, for people who served in the military, we know this pain all too well. Hey, go and volunteer in your community. And it's, they put it as part of your rating, like as you get evaluated every year, they say, oh, I need your volunteer bullets. Where did you volunteer? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do those? Did you do these? And it's a huge PR stunt. It really is. They want the face of members of the military to be a face that people can trust in their community and people like to see in their community.
By the way, your EPR is due Friday. I hope you remember that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got you.
But as you say that, do you think it'll be it'll be a Mando volunteer thing, or do you think that's actually a role that the tower under Logain is going to pick up? And I guess that kind of evolves into the next question.
Think about it like this. When Logain is approached at the end of the last battle, the people who saw men channeling to defend them, the people who witnessed and experienced firsthand the protection of the Black Tower came to Logain and said, when our sons are old enough, we will bring them to you to see if they have been blessed by the dragon.
Well,
if they've been given the dragon's gift.
That's why I wonder, because the vast majority of humanity at this point is in the last battle in one way or another. And so you see male and female channelers on both sides. So, but you see the Logains of the world. And that's why I wonder if there's a little bit of a shift. Like maybe we'll go insane, but we want to bring our sons and daughters.
Well, and Logain says the Black Tower protects always. And I think that's a very powerful moment because Logain recognizes the role that he should be taking on as the leader of the Black Tower. I shrug to say Mihail, but we've adopted the name of Mihail, but he might not.
With qualifiers.
With qualifiers, yes. Not capital M, just a Mihail. But one of the things that I think is going to be a first generation problem is identity. Mm-hmm. Where does the Black Tower fit into this new world? Because for everything in recorded history, it's new. It's new. There's never been.
It's just a couple years old at this point.
Yeah. And there's never been a society
and it had
of
all the tame to it.
There's never been a society of male channelers independent. There just never has. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be looking for a way to give the Black Tower legitimacy, not only to keep Andoran law off their backs because they want to govern themselves. Again, my theory. But they're also going to need to be useful in the world. They're going to need to establish why they belong in the world as well. So I do feel like Logain would be, sending them out on protection missions, doing different matters of service in different communities, helping rebuild a lot of communities that were destroyed, et cetera, those kinds of things.
Well, he does try to go ahead and submit some legitimacy with Andor, and it's the opportune time because this is still a very, very decidedly Elaine-controlled Andor. And when Elaine and Logain talk about kind of like there's this like unease or kind of like, well, what are you going to do with the tower, Logain? Because
couple of
Elaine is in full. Elaine is in full queen mode, and she's like, this is like the White Cloaks, but actually effective and powerful in my domain. How am I going to deal with this? And Logain calms her down very quickly by saying, the Black Tower stands with the Lion of Andor. So he makes it very clear that we're partners. He sets the Black Tower up to be a partner with Andor, to work with Andor, that they will still kind of try to work within the bounds of Andoran law and work with the Andoran government, but that it's a partnership, not a, subservient to Andor.
So kind of like the Vatican within Rome and Italy.
Very, very similar. Yes. I would 100% agree with that.
Except the hat isn't as tall and there's no bullet. I
I mean, maybe
there
Lorraine
is.
does get a hat that's that tall eventually. So who knows?
Just figured out where the Pope starts in the Wheel of Time. It starts.
Hey, there it is. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. What?
Oh my gosh, all the Catholics are going to be like, Logain is not the Pope. We apologize. That was not what we were saying.
But I think that is going to be the biggest tasking for this first generation, for the Logain tower and his generation, is showing the world that the Ashaman, that male channelers are no longer just inherently dangerous because they are Mythic in general. I mean, you're still going to have your bad eggs here and there, for sure. That's never going to stop. And then just cementing concretely, just like the White Tower has over the last 3,000 years, a place that commands respect from the other nations. Because following the last battle, when you have a tremendously weakened world where most of the nations, if not every nation, is severely weakened in terms of military power, this is an environment where those that can channel can very easily and very effectively turn the tides. They can basically march into almost any city and be like, this is ours now. You have 1,000 troops. Cool. We have like 50, and we can just rolling fire and earth you.
And we can travel into wherever you are, to get the better strategic tactical position.
Yeah,
the high ground, as it were.
So they have this, and then
we'll make you in the low ground because we'll just blow up the earth under you.
Yeah. And then you have the Aes Sedai that still have their oaths, right? This is something that we don't know if Cat Swain is going to keep the oath rod. I think it's reasonable to believe that she will.
I think she will. It seems like, I think that was one of the assumptions that we made in that panel that I was on for you guys, is that that they're going to keep the oath rod and then execute all of Egwene's plans. So to create the Ken as a retirement plan, essentially, for any Aes Sedai that want to to give up their oath and live longer. Oaths, plural.
So they're going to have that to continue to help the rest of the world believe that they can be trusted, that they're not just going to march into like a city and be like, this city is ours now. You don't have that with the Black Tower. And I don't necessarily foresee the Black Tower going the route of adopting their own version of the Oath Rod.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
I think that's very fair.
So, because I think they're going to look at it and they're going to kind of like figure out what kind of happens by using something like the Oath Rod or a binding rod. And they're going to be like, why would I give up half my life just so people might trust me a little better? Because that worked out so well for the Aes Sedai.
That wouldn't even mean that an oath rod that Saiden would use would have their lives. So maybe that's a Sidar specific thing. So that's an interesting theory.
I wonder. I mean, I always kind of assumed that the oath rods could be used by Saidin or Sidair.
Oh, I would assume they could be used by both. Well, and then like maybe it's like, that's another speculative.
Might be. Do we see any Angreal that are used both, or that are used at one point with Saidin and another point used with Sidair, or vice versa?
Oh, well, not Sangreal. There's definitely Terangreal that are used by both.
Because the Oath Rod is a Terangreal.
The Oath Rod is a Terangreal. So
I would think it would have the same effect. Regardless.
I think it would have the same effect. I think the question there is, does it require Sidar to activate the mechanism? Because remember what they talk about the Oath Rod or the Binding Rod being used in the Age of Legends as a punishment for criminals.
Yeah, well, so they're numbered. They're numbered, so there's multiple. There's a series of them.
And it implies that people who cannot channel would also be subject to that if someone is channeling spirit into it.
Yeah.
Does it have to be Sidar spirit or can it be Sidene spirit?
Yeah.
Is
No,
spirit
they can't use the binding rod on non-channelers. You have to use the binding chair. Binding rod only works on channelers.
You're right.
But the binding
But-
chair gets around that and you can use it on non-channelers.
But regardless, the question still stands. Does it need to be Sidar or Sidene that triggers?
And I wonder if there's like, maybe it's something as simple as like the evens and odds. So the even numbers are for the females and the odd numbers.
Yeah.
And that's an
I don't know.
oversimplifications, or there's like, categorizations, like 1 through 10 is
As far as
Sidar.
men using it, I feel
I
like
mean, Morden has 3 of them, so it kind of pushes me to think that they're just activated by flows of spirit.
yeah.
yeah.
As far as men using it, I can see some men. First off, I can see Logain being against it vehemently. Like, absolutely not. No. Now, whether or not
what about second generation?
but that, yeah, again, so after he's replaced, I can see eventually, and I know this gets to a conversation that we've had prior to this, Leia, but I believe that eventually there's going to be a lot of channelers in both places. Does that mean everybody's going to be using the Oath Rod? I almost feel like the Black Tower will be Oath Rod less throughout its lifespan.
So
throughout its
Christine just
existence.
said Logain is such a dom, there's no way he would agree to be found. And I very much agree with that. So-
Logain fucks harder.
Now, what if you have a situation like with Andral and Pavara, where Pavara is under the Oath Rod, and the Andral being in this kind of like spousal connection decides like, I don't want to outlive my beloved wife by like twice her lifespan, so
Well,
I'm
but
going
she-
to
but she
take the
can also-
oaths.
But she can also release, again, under Egwene's plan, that Aes Sedai can retire into the Ken, that they can release themselves from the oaths, so they somehow, however it is
Also-
that they unswear off the Oath Rod, and then they live this life within the Ken. But being Aes Sedai, and this is just a key thing, and we could probably move on, because like the Aes Sedai very much identify with their oaths. They've been held to it. Egwene goes from not wanting the oaths because she thinks it's limiting them, and then as she realizes, she's like, no, this is something that binds us. This is what makes us Aes Sedai. So there's other female channeling organizations that women can go to if they don't want to be Aes Sedai. So you could go
And-
be one of those.
One of the things that, because I've thought a lot about that, Andrew, when you get Pavara and Andral and that kind of a thing, and I don't believe for the life of me that there is an Aes Sedai out there that would willingly give up the advantage of having another channeler not bound by those oaths.
So wait, say that again.
So Andral and Pavara,
Yes.
they're together, right? And the point Andrew made was, Andral wouldn't want to outlive his spouse, and then you said, she could join the kin, et cetera, et cetera. But for them traveling around, for all intents and purposes, I don't believe that there is an Aes Sedai in the White Tower who would willingly give up the advantage of having a channeler at their side, not bound by those oaths. Because
You
in
think-
so many
The
ways,
Reds
it's
give
got
it
to
up
make
to warders. So
So you think that the Aes Sedai would want their channeling warders to partake in some sort of oath?
to not partake.
To not partake. Oh, again, yes. So
They would
so
actively
the
not
Moraine
want them.
Land situation where Land says all the things that Moraine
Yeah.
can't say. All right,
Exactly.
got it.
So that is an advantage that they have cultivated with their warders.
Mhm.
And having a warder who can channel, I feel like every Aes Sedai in the world would go, oh yeah, no. That's an Aes Sedai thing. That's for us.
Yeah.
Also, we want you to be able to kill with impunity. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want them. Well, and then we're. Yeah.
So do we move into second generation?
I think we
post
kind of moved
Logain?
into second generation.
Well, do we want to move into second generation, or do we want to still like flesh out a little bit of what the first generation looks like?
Oh, I'm fine with either way.
I feel like the first generation is pretty simple though. It's going to be
No. You think so? Go.
Oh.
You tell me.
Oh.
You tell me.
Oh.
No, you go
Snap.
ahead. You go ahead because I've got lots of questions. I've got lots of questions.
okay.
And I would love you guys' opinions on these because you guys have thought a lot more about the Black Tower than I'm actively. I've got my notes, and then I'm actively taking notes on the.
I'm gonna need a new
conversations
drink
that
for
we're
this. I'm gonna make a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it were me, okay, granted, I'm not in actuality a man who can channel in charge of anything at the Black Tower, but I play one on the internet.
Oh, the same with me about being an IO. So.
What?
I mean,
You're
I'm a
not an
tall head
IO?
Reddit runner, like, and I don't
the girl
use
in her
swords.
runners
So
club. Jeez.
yeah,
Anyway,
I
okay.
said I am a runner.
So, no, one of the things that I think a lot about is, you've got this new organization and they have to find a place in the world. They have to establish an identity before they're absorbed by another country, nobility, whatever, right? The biggest, most immediate concern being Andor, because they're on Andoran soil, and there is dispute as to how said soil was obtained, right? So Elaine is already upset that she gave up land to the sea folk. She's already feeling like in some ways that she failed because the queens of Andor back 1,000 years have never given an inch of land to any other, sovereignty. And here she is, she's got 2. She can't do anything about the sea folk, but she can do something. She does have a legal claim to try and at least exert some sort of legal control or oversight at the Black Tower. So Logain very smartly moves very, very quickly, just as Andrew was saying earlier, to establish a partnership. We are willing to work with the Lion of Andor. So the biggest piece of, and we could say the same thing with a country in the world nowadays. The biggest piece of the most important thing that they need to do is to establish sovereignty.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the Black Tower's biggest challenge, is to establish sovereignty into getting recognized sovereignty, so that they have diplomatic allies in other areas willing to recognize them.
Well, and one thing I would postulate in the post Last Battle world is just the entire continent of Randland has been completely wrecked. So even just assuming that there's enough people to still manage the governments of the countries that existed pre Last Battle, like if we just made that a going in assumption, they're still just completely wrecked, and giving again, like you said, Elaine has established this treaties, I guess, like an informal treaties with Logain. That being said, I feel like there is a potential, and this is one of my questions, is because of traveling, does the Black Tower stay where they are? Do they create little embassies throughout, because you can just hop back and forth? And what was the other one? Oh, and then that also gets into like scouting, recruiting, just general. How does the, like, again, I told you I have a lot of base questions about how
that all goes into establishing sovereignty, though, right? Because
is that sovereignty, or is that just like are they considered the embassy? The way that we think of them is that I live here in Washington D.C., so I go up Embassy Row, and as I walk up Embassy Row, I go from Korea to China to
Right.
Russia to Great
You know,
Britain. That's not in that
The
order.
first
That's
thing-
not in that order. Yeah.
The first thing you have to make is you have to make the ITA, the Interstate Travel Administration or Traveling Administration.
Okay.
Because just imagine the logistics of places like Camelin and Kirian and Harvalon, these central hubs, following every trading port everywhere, every trading outpost everywhere, all the way out to I forgot the fucking name, the mountains that block the Ayala from Sara.
Oh yeah, those. Yeah.
Yeah, that honestly, just like that entire continent might just be a side of the continent might just be
Well,
dead.
yeah. Now we've got Shan Chan that you could potentially travel to, and yeah.
But you have all these places where everybody has to travel to, and we know the inherent dangers to, I don't know, opening a gateway in the middle of a person.
Yeah,
So
let's not do that.
that's going to be fun. That is going to be so bureaucratic for them to try to make these standardized things. Because
That's true.
like we see that the Saladar Aes Sedai and the Ashaman, they make designated traveling spots.
yeah.
But how do you regulate two people opening at the same time? Is it just something where two gateways inherently cannot be open in the exact same space? I can't remember if that was a mechanic or not.
You in the exact same space, but the likelihood, like they might be millimeters apart, and then if you
Yeah.
step through another one, like that gets interesting. So how
And
do you?
thanks, Iris Bear.
handle
Yeah, it's the
those?
Cliffs of Dawn and the Great Rift. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're gonna have like
and so maybe there's all these like individual little circles, so which
Yeah,
gets to
but
be
I
a
think-
lot.
I think with traveling though, it removes the need for embassies. Right now, like in our world, one of the main reasons the nations have embassies in other countries is to have somebody physically there available for negotiations, diplomatic relations, to deal with all these things, because it's a lot cheaper and a lot easier than every time the US wants to talk to South Korea, flying a diplomat out at that point. So rather you create these areas that have, home field advantage, or, it's under the rule of law of whatever nation owns it. For the
So
sake of
they'd have
brevity
more
and
of an
convenience.
office than an embassy. So like an office
would-
within whatever headquarters or
Yeah, I would think so, because if the Black Tower is like, you know what, there's something going on with trade, we need more grain to the Black Tower, we want to get it from Tyr. It's all too easy for them to send, an Ashaman or a couple of Ashaman as a diplomatic detachment via traveling into Tyr. And with the allure of traveling, what it allows, you're going to want to having people that probably pay the Black Tower and the White Tower and many other channelers to have people there to facilitate traveling. You're going to have Ajas and sections of the Black Tower that are going to have like redone purposes. And the bargaining chip, the diplomatic bargaining chip you have by offering a group of 5 Ashaman or Aes Sedai or both to come and stay in Camelin for the purpose of facilitating travel, that is an incredible bargaining chip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
money
interesting.
right there.
That's interesting. You bring up an interesting point with the travel administration, because well, I mean, but for real though, the world just got a lot smaller, right? With the advent of traveling, with the advent of the Dragon's Peace. Now you've got all these nations that need to. I mean, I believe in the Dragon's Peace. There's like, you're supposed to establish a council to decide disputes, to decide, regulations on things that involve more than one country.
Yeah.
These are things that were previously unaddressed, because the rule up until this point was, if you're in this place, you obey these rules. But now there's a whole, like, I can just travel to the other place and call it a day. So you're going to have, and with respect to the Black Tower, you're going to have Logain, I believe, putting eyes and ears, emissaries, representatives in any place of nobility that he can, because he doesn't want Andor representing Andor and the Black Tower at these types of negotiations. He wants the Black Tower to have their own seat at the table.
Of course, yeah. And so one thing that I've actually postulated in post last battle is, I mean, essentially freeing Logain, they kind of destroy a large portion of the Black Tower, if not the vast majority.
Right.
Like there's a fairly significant battle that goes there. But that being said, as we realize in Eye of the World, there is a large part of the continent that, in even the Great Hunt, there's a large part of the continent that just nationalities don't exist because they just can't breach out in that territory. And with the advent of traveling, there is plenty of land and territory that the Ashaman could potentially go to without having to have that conflict of we're existing within a nation and trying to figure out our permissions of, like, if we get bigger, can we build out? Are we allowed to build out? What about the town that exists around us? So I've always thought that there's the potential of going up into like, this is a really bad example, but where Patton Fane nails the Murdral to like inflates them. But that's no man's land up there. So no country owns that. So it's somewhere between Faldara and Kyrian, and post last battle, everybody's fucked anyways. Like I'm sure all the lines of countries will fluctuate regardless.
And that's one of the things kind of that we stumbled upon just doing the show. Andrew's in North Carolina, I'm in Utah, Daniel's in LA. And so we've started doing like Black Tower Utah chapter, Black Tower North Carolina chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see the Andoran Black Tower as sort of like, because you're definitely right. Like, Elaine's not giving another inch, period, end of story. The land that they have is the land that they have. And in order to build, they're going to have to build up.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be able to build out.
Well, and maybe that becomes headquarters and training becomes one of those other places where they can build out.
And I would imagine
there's a school maybe somewhere to learn up things.
And I would imagine that Logain has diplomats and representatives going to other nations saying, we'd like some land to set up. And as it would be similar to opening a military base. We go to the local government, we say we'd like to open a military base, and they say, what's in it for us? Well, there's going to be money and or protection and or whatever.
Yeah.
And I believe,
well, and just don't forget that this entire continent is pretty much war ravaged. So
exactly. So they're
anywhere that can bring revenue and people and guarantee, like the I feel like the Black Tower as well as the White Tower are going to be able to establish these like remote locations potentially that are guaranteed revenue. And they've got so much benefit also that they can give to the community.
And it makes recruiting easier because now people don't have to travel all the way
what
to
does
Andor.
Recruiting look like now for the Black Tower?
They're not going to stop sending out.
So you think they're still going to?
There will still be active recruiting. Period. End of story.
Logain, now, do you think there'll be centers though? Whereas during Rand's lifetime, they had to actively go to village by village and attempt to like stealth in and be like, "Hey, would you support the Dragon Reborn?" And then once we've stealthed you away, then we're going to try to test you.
I think the sales pitch changes. I think the sales pitch changes, but I do think there are teams that go out into remote villages and cities and whatnots, and hold active recruiting. sort of like military recruiters nowadays. We're holding an event. Come get a free hot dog and join the military. Like, okay. But I do also believe there will, and this is again part of establishing their identity, their place in the world. There will be, and this is the benefit of having numerous Black Tower satellite sites or bases or forts, because people can then come to them and say, hey, I think that I might be able to do this, or I'd like to know if I can, because I'd like to join. And I think it's going to be a two-pronged spear, as it were, where you're going to have the active recruiting and the passive recruiting. I don't know which will be more popular. I would imagine eventually with widespread establishment and satellite locations and chapter houses and recruiting offices, I would imagine that passive recruiting would become more popular. But I believe that recruiting is definitely going to be a big justification for identity for that first generation of the Black Tower post Fourth Age.
Interesting. So another question that I had for you guys about, so as we're talking about recruiting, and there's already a pre-established ceremony of leveling up. So assuming that stays the same, and you guys could get into that if you want to say anything different besides just assuming that you move up through the 3 ranks to become Ashaman. But do you think there'll be specialties that similar to the White Tower that people give into? Do you think they'll break out into individual communities? What would that look like? Because they do fall into more of a military structure. So we do see in the books that there's like the squads and the battalions.
Andrew, I know you've been silent for a while, but can I take this one?
Go for
No,
it.
I love this one. I love this one because one of the things that we did, so as you, and this is outside universe, right? This is just reality for the podcast. We have 3 hosts.
Yeah.
There are only 2 titles given to Mahales. So Daniel's title of Amin Khan Mahale was created, to have, to add some breadth to the lore and to kind of expand upon that and to have fun with that. Now, we decided that what would the names of these different divisions be? There wasn't really a good translation for division. There wasn't really a good translation for like squad or group or anything like that. But what we did find was the word in Old Tongue, gar, which translated into weapon. In the founding of the Black Tower, they were weapons for the dragon. They were spears for the dragon.
Yeah.
So we decided that if we were going to have individual factions, those factions would be called gar. So if you were under the Sorovan Mahale, you'd be in the Sorovan Gar. Or the Bajan Mahale, you'd be under the Bajan Gar. Or the Amin Khan Mahale, you'd be with the Amin Khan Gar. And as a first generation, you've got Bajan Mahale, so more focused on battle. These are going to be a lot of your dedicated. They're going to have a lot of
and can you
rolling
translate
ring.
all these again? Because I know you guys have done it before, but if people have never listened.
So Bajan Mahale, battle leader. Sorovan Mahale, yeah, that's the battle leader. Sorovan Mahale, storm leader.
Which is what you are, correct?
Which is me. And then Amin Khan Mahale, dragon banner leader. And that's Daniel. So now the fun part becomes is we've got the Bajan Mahale, they're more focused on battle, combat, tactics. What can we do here to win the battle? It's
like the Green Aja, but we actually train.
Oh,
hey, we don't have oaths that inherently prevent us from training offensive weaves. So
it's a fact.
But actually, the Green Aja doesn't, and actually, like, I've got thoughts on that, but that is not for this podcast. So
I like it.
And then the Sorovan Gar will be more focused in study of the nature of Saidin. What can we do with Saidin? it's kind of an R&D, but it's also kind of a philosopher, you know,
So like
kind of a
brown,
thing.
white, sort of.
Ish.
Are you like a state alchemist from Full Metal Alchemist?
Or a Jedi consular.
I don't know what that is.
Wow,
so-
we just got so
We
nerdy
went
here,
Star
and
Wars,
I
baby.
love it. I love it. I'm
and
loving all
then
it.
Amin Khangar, Dragon Banner Gar, that's where your bards are going to be. That's where your healers are going to be.
They're the flag team from the band.
Flag mass. And so that's which I was in basic training, not to, brag or nothing, but 0 demerit flag mass.
Nerd.
If you know, you know.
What would the Amon Khan Guard do? Like, what would be their focus? Because we kind of like took the Amon Khan Mahale from military structure. In
Right.
formal formations, every company, every battalion has a guidon bearer. There's
Right.
somebody that holds the flag, holds the standard for that battalion or company or whatever organization you want to use that is of a company level. And they're the ones that show everybody kind of where we're marching. Everybody can follow the flag and see the flag that orchestrates, like if you're doing a left face or a right face or whatever the case is, which takes its origins from the standard bearers. Pick a point in history. You can go feudal Japan. You can go medieval Britain.
Well, like just
or
the trumpet sounds or a drum beat or
yeah. But you had these standards that they marked where your allied force was moving forward to, and everybody followed the banner. And it was
and the way the banner moved, there was very much.
Yeah. It was a super risky job, right? Because those guys, they didn't
You
carry
were the
weapons.
most visible, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody wanted to take that out because if you took out the guidon bearer or the standard bearer, now you had disarray. Nobody knew where they were moving because that's how.
That's why you had
battles
backups to backups to backups for those positions.
Yeah. So what would an Amon Khan Gar do? Because saying that they would be like more focused on like ceremony and stuff, just seems. Well, I mean, that could be a facet of them that they would be like the ones that are also very ceremonial.
You've also got the diplomats. Right, they would represent the dragon. When they go somewhere, that's where the dragon's banner goes. You would have, like I said, healers.
Yeah, so they're the yellow grays.
Yeah, they would have a non-combat kind of a status, as it were. You guys, by now, have they seen our Mahale designs? Have they seen our Mahale designs?
No, we haven't shown them. We can show them if you want.
We can show them. We can edit that out, or we can just throw it in the live chat, and all you people who are not on our Patreon can just guess.
I was going to throw them in the recording if we show them now.
Go for it. Throw them in the recording. So we've actually designed. We have insignias for each Mahale.
What?
Yeah.
So we can choose our.
I made it myself.
Wait, now.
Are you going to put them in the live chat, or do you want me to?
So what would we call this? Because you could be a person of an Aja, but I feel like a Mahale is a position. So what would you call it as somebody who's a member under?
So if you were an Ashaman and you wanted to study the nature of Sidene, you would join the Soravangar. So you would have your black coat,
so you'd be part of
sword
that
and pin,
got it. You did
and
say
a patch.
You did say that earlier, and it didn't stick.
Signifying your membership with the Soravangar. Now, okay, let me find it. Hold on. Here we go. I'm going to start with Bijan Mahale.
Yeah.
Because Andrew's a badass.
Some badass designs. Like I'm actually in love with these designs.
Yeah, Christine saying, "Come on, oh my God, yes, I feel that, Christine."
I know how to edge my audience. Okay, so there's the Bijan Mahale. If you're a member of the Bijan Gar, that is what you will wear on your shoulder to signify you're a member of the Bijan Gar. See, that's another advantage of like being our patrons. You get to.
So, can I give a Threefolds Talk attempt of a description?
Sure.
Yes.
There are crossed swords with a shield on top of it. And come to Threefold Talks for more descriptions like this.
Mm.
I like
Here we
it.
go.
We all love our cross swords with a shield.
Oh, yeah. You love your saber neighbor.
Yeah.
If you love your saber neighbor, your saber neighbor will love you back. Okay, next one. It's going to
Cool.
be
The Saber Neighbor secret handshake doesn't involve hands at all.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
next is going to be Amin Khan Mahale. There you go. There's the Amin Khan Mahale, and I'm saving the Sauron Mahale for last because
All right,
me, and I'm a drama queen.
Like it's a nice post with a dragon on top of it.
Hey, what's up, girl? You know.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think this is sexy, and I was like, oh wait, no, now it is. Like there is a very erect post with a dragon right on top of it.
I did not intend for that to look like an erect post, but
No, it didn't. I just
here we are. Here we are.
I just threefold talked it. So
You did.
Yeah, no.
I'm a little
that's what we
scared to
do.
share mine now. Okay, here's Sora von Mahale. It's coming your way.
Yeah, and thank you for the stabby stab, Matt Stacker. Ooh, oh God. Yeah, no, I'm just not even gonna go there.
You needed a visual representation of taint-borne chlamydia. This is what it looks like.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's the
No!
clip. It was the clip with a lot of period blood on it, but
Welcome to the Black Tower.
So like I was so excited whenever Josh
so
started showing
sorry,
these.
everyone. I apologize, but that is literally what just came to my brain. Like when I was trying to
It's
do
okay.
something.
So I was excited when I saw the Amin Khan Mahale sigil, or the Amin Khan Gar sigil, and I was like, that looks really cool. You know, it's really good.
And they
And
look
then I saw
badass.
like mine. He did the Bajan, and I was like, oh, that's the dopest one. There's no way you're gonna beat it. And then Josh kind of did.
Yeah. So please don't everyone like don't think of Josh's one as what I just said, because I'll never say it
Thank
again,
you.
but-
Don't think of me as a clit covered in period blood. I would appreciate that.
Things I never thought I would hear.
Things I never
For
thought I'd
500
say.
I mean,
There's not really much sexual about that. I mean, it kind of looks like a clit, sort of like a fist bump clit, and then
Oh, all right.
Um,
Hey, this is why you're here, folks. This is quality entertainment.
So back to Fourth Age Black Tower.
So these would be the different divisions. So this would be at least in, in the first generation, these would be the divisions that Ashaman would be organized into. Now, as time goes on, I believe the Black Tower is based very much on adaptation.
All right. So wait. So have we covered all of the potential guards? Because I know you guys, like Josh, that you said you want to base it under what y'all are talking about, but have we missed anything? So
Well, that's the thing. So and this is in reference to generation 1. And that's kind of where I was going with this. Is you're going to have
Gotcha.
you're going to have the soldiers, and I don't mean rank soldier. I mean people who have the soldier mindset of we need to be ready for battle.
I'm gonna fuck up all the terms. I'm just gonna say like the people that Andrew go follow Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have people who want to study Sidene a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And those are obviously what we have at the last battle. And so you're going to have people.
fourth.
Oh, what's the fourth?
Think of a fourth that I think would make reasonable sense for an entity like the Black Tower. It would be the Kohen Togar, which is training or learning.
Oh,
So it would be like the
it was
teaching faction.
educators. Yeah.
Yeah, the educators, the people teaching weaves and that kind of stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the general purpose classes, like your English, writing, arithmetic, and how to blow up rocks with your mind. You know, the basics of a good standard education.
Do you think that would extend outside the Black Tower that so kind of the brown Aja is what you're talking about. So well, not really just the brown Mistress of Novices combined with the brown Aja, maybe. So you're teaching the recruits and soldiers, and then do you think there would be an outreach of like universities of a knowledge base where people come to learn at the Black Tower? Because the Black Tower maybe gets a library that starts rivaling the White Tower, maybe?
You know, that actually is a good thing. Like,
good thing or a good question. Would they actually do that?
Both.
Do you think the Black Tower would actually want to do that?
Well, they have a standard that or there is precedent for it with Rand starting the universities like with Herod Fell.
But he's made that completely independent of the Black Tower.
But the Black Tower would
just
want to follow the Lord Dragon as closely as they possibly can, because that is their claim to legitimacy in Generation 1.
Interesting.
Rand is the Dragon Reborn.
That's a hot take. I like that hot take.
Rand is the Dragon Reborn. Rand was on the throne at the time. Therefore, this land that we possess is rightfully ours. And I'm sorry, Elaine, you can't do anything about that. So they will utilize whatever legitimate legal nobility claims that they can get in order to
so that's a fun fact here, because we've talked about this exact thing before. Words are important when it comes to diplomacy and legalities, right? Rand never tells Taim that this land is being given to him to train individuals, or given for the purpose of training. But he says you can use this land to train. Mm-hmm. So it's like they have lease of use of the land, but they do not have ownership of the land, which is genius for Rand, for the extent that it still makes it completely under his domain without anybody arguing that, like, well, I thought Taim was in charge. Because let's face it, Rand goes there like twice, maybe 3 times. I mean,
max,
bro,
yeah.
Like, bro, come on. But
and
he never gives the land.
And Logain goes and begs him to come back and be like, please come back and take control.
Please, Taim is a real dick. Like, for real. No, you guys are good.
You saw him. He didn't even wear the pins. Ungrateful asshole.
For real, though.
But, I mean, I think he definitely does that in part because he fully intends to, in his mind, give Elaine back Andor, which you can't do because it's already hers.
And she gets sassy as fuck about it, which I love.
Yeah, but I think
I know people hate her.
I think he knows that if he had given away Andor and Soil, that Elaine would have never let it stand or let it go, and it like leads precedent for like a fight between Andor and the Black Tower.
Well, and he also acknowledges like he's not really trying to take over the country. Like, we don't need to debate this. Anywho, let's talk about the
I don't need your land. I just need your cooperation.
We keep getting back to the land conversation, and I think we've kind of beat that horse to death a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. So we've got some scouting conversations. We've gotten through. How do you think in the first generation? So there's the Black Tower that's been established. The fact that there are multiple cultures now that have their pre-last battle way of dealing with male channelers. So the Aiel send them up to fight Blightscinder.
Blightscinder?
Yeah.
No, Blightscinder. Hashtag Blightscinder.
You know the gloves with all like the lights on the fingertips?
Yes.
It's just some dude in the desert just
And
doing all the finger dances with the
doing
lights.
fucking like light shows and shit.
You guys know who the fuck I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah, we do.
And I just snorted also, by the way.
But I now just like the idea of Shaitan's just sitting in Shao Ghul, just.
Oh my god, you guys are gonna make me pee. Okay. But the sea folk, like, they just literally walk off the plank with rocks tied to them, essentially. So knowing that there's these other cultures who again, Egwene has made deals with these cultures pre-last battle on how the female structure is going to work among their channeling culture. What do you think the Black Tower is going to do? Are they going to do reach out? Are they going to let these other cultures establish their own thing? Are they going to attempt to bring all the male channelers in, like, and even from abroad, like from Shara and Sean Chan, like this
All
is,
the male channelers, all the
this is
male
a-
channelers, all the male channelers, all the male channelers.
right? Yeah, no, this is a big question.
My
So-
amnesty brings all the boys to the yard. No, I think they do, because the one of the
I
things that
also
the
love
first
that
generation.
these are all like female like songs that you guys are using. Like, yeah, I love it. Like bring it all in. Bring it all in.
Well, I think they will, because one of the things the first generation has they grew up with and have lived with is this being ostracized by all of society by virtue of just
Universal,
being
yes,
male
correct.
channelers.
Mhm.
So I think there is going to be, I think Logain definitely has the capacity for it and probably will do it, because as dominant of a personality as he is, if nothing else, by the end of the last battle, we see that Logain is also a very compassionate person, that he very much cares about the fate of people in
Oh my
mass,
god,
at least.
he's one of my biggest crushes because of that.
Oh,
because
yeah.
he just, like, yeah, he's just so he wants everyone to do well. And when
Oh,
you
yeah.
first meet him, like, well, I mean, he's kind of a dick, but then,
I mean, I take and I say my alms to a portrait of Alvaro Morte every night as Logain. So, no,
which we all know, yes.
yeah. But this first generation having lived through all of that and having no place to go and feeling as soon as they realize like a channel being doomed to just die or be killed, they're probably going to reach out to all of these people and be like, look, even if you don't believe that siding has been cleansed, send them to us. We will accept all responsibility. We will deal with them. And you know what? We will even come and get them if you want us to. Because for Logain, he knows, like, all the male channelers, all the Ashama know the reality of the situation. They know 100% that Sidene has been cleansed. They also know that there's strength in numbers, there's influence in numbers, and they're going to want to maintain that ability to influence, because the Black Tower, the White Tower in every nation is going to immediately start rebuilding military force. Because just because everybody signed a piece of paper saying, hey, we'll all be friends, generally doesn't mean we're all going to be friends, ergo all of human history.
Do you know?
So I think they're going to basically like kind of Statue of Liberty.
Well, but-
Give us your broken, your poor, your, whatever.
Oh, so this gets a little bit back to the recruiting question, because there's cultures that are not necessarily going to want to. So you're not going to have those recruiting stations necessarily,
I
but
feel like you're going to have places like Shanchan and Shara that are going to be a hard no.
But
Like
do you
they're
think-
just.
I'm also going to give you guys a hard time. Do you think the Aiel are, because I love the Aiel. I'm the Roofmistress, and this is where I'm going to sass you a little bit. Do you not think that the Aiel are going to want to set up, and I'm going to say this same thing with the Sea Folk. Do you not think that they're going to want to set up their own little, like, oh, we don't have to keep killing these people. We want them in our culture.
Ooh.
I don't think they do. Maybe the remnant of a Shido that survives.
Fuck you.
Hold on.
Fuck you with the Aiel, because
That's a good question, though.
Well, the vast majority of them are remaining in the Westlands, in the wetlands.
No. Well, they're remaining, but I think the Aiel still want to keep their culture, and that's why Rand set them aside as the peacekeepers.
I think.
So you're
they
going to
will
have
try.
this. We're going to have.
I think it depends. I think it depends vastly on the Aiel themselves. They will decide one way or the other.
But also the Sea Folk, and then again, all these other
Sea Folk, yeah. Well, the Sea Folk have the Isle of Madmen, right? So even if they keep doing that same tradition,
and that's assuming that all of these cultures have now accepted. So let's just hand wave and say all of them have accepted the taint is gone. So sorry, like you can remove that taint, that nastiness.
So we're
Josh.
like we're
Um,
second or third generation at best.
Well, no, like you could even say like fairly quickly, especially with the IEL. Maybe not the
Okay, that's
folk,
fair.
but they'll like, and then seeing, especially in the last battle, what the repercussion of them sending all of these, channelers to
I just
fit
completely
in
blanked on the
Sightblinder's
massive
eye.
amount of channelers that were
Yeah,
fighting against
well,
them. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and like, yeah, no, we just basically sent them up and they either got turned or they volunteered to be bad versions of us.
I think the IL, as the people of the dragon, are. I think I agree with Josh. And I think this might be what Josh was getting at. I'm probably slightly off at least.
And I'm
But it could
probably
be
gonna
50-50. It could be 50-50 with the IO because on one hand, people of the dragon, all this trust in the Karakarn and a respect for what he has set up and done, because that is what prophecy has said, that is what tradition has said, and that is what they have, for the most part, ultimately seen from Rand as the Dragon Reborn. So I could see that being a fair argument that they make to send their male channelers to the Black Tower to train. But on the other hand,
hard disagree.
You have this fierce IL concept of honor and independence and not self-righteousness, but like
self-governance.
And building yourself
yeah.
up as an entity. Oh, and I definitely see a whole new detachment of IL warriors that are simply just male channelers.
I feel like it becomes a completely different warrior society. So it's like there's the maidens, there's all the non-channeling male warrior societies, and then there is the channelers male warrior societies.
And that
and they may not consider themselves, maybe they model themselves similar to the Black Tower, that they don't attempt to be wise ones, which are the female channelers, but also wise ones are like the percentage of women who actually can channel as wise ones are maybe 50-50. So
that's what they call themselves, because they're not going to call themselves wise ones.
Well, again, I think they create their own individual warrior society.
No, I agree. I was just curious to see if you maybe you had thought of a name.
I don't know. No, I have not.
That was just curious.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at names.
Dragons' children, but that doesn't.
Actually, like maybe you guys like pull that on Twitter and we'll retweet that and announce it on Threefold
What's
Talk.
Old Tongue for spear? I'll bet if an IEL.
Oh, I will have to ask Pavara that because I have no fucking idea.
Sisway, Siswai is Old
Is
Tongue
it Sisway?
Oh, it is.
I'm on Sisway. Dragon spear, or Sisway I'm on Spear of the Dragon. So
Pavara, correct him on this one, please.
Pavara, leave a comment below, or any of you other Old Tongue experts, leave a comment below. But that's exactly where I was going with the 50-50. It could go either way with the IEL. I feel like the reason why I feel like the IEL would send male channelers to the Black Tower is because there is currently no place in society for a male channeler who is an IEL.
But this is okay.
And they already have established tradition of sending them to spit in Sightblinder's eye. So that's one option, to keep with tradition and send them away. The second option being the Karakarn brings change. We have embraced change. We live among the Wetlanders as a security force. It will be beneficial as a tactical advantage.
Kind use of the word embrace.
So another reason I don't think they'll actually go to the Black Tower is because
the same way you embrace yourself in a
part of the tradition is training with a sword. So yes, big hugs to the Black Tower. No, fuck you. I don't care. I don't care.
But keep in mind, the sword is not the only training they do.
No, it is not. But with respect to the types of weapons that you use, they don't do spear training. So maybe this becomes a sort of Egwene, Wise One alliance, maybe the Black Tower realizes training with a spear is important, so they bring in Aiel warriors to train the Ashman. Like maybe the Aiel are like, fuck you, we're the only people that can do this.
I am instantly terrified. Imagine a male Chandler, ergo Dumais Wells, with the battle prowess, knowledge, and skills of an IL. That is terrifying.
But remember,
That's
there
fucking
are
amazing.
IEL teachers
Like, it's
at the
amazingly
Black
terrifying.
Tower
Yeah.
teaching soldiers to fight with their hands. Like,
and really fucking someone up. Yeah.
yes, this already. So that's what I'm saying. There's already a
Well,
precedent
and this
for
is
an IEL presence at
this
the Black
is-
Tower.
this is like that's presence, but so you get IL trainers, but this would have to be an
like
extreme
presence.
negotiation. And actually, I don't think the IL would actually agree to it, at least for the first generation.
See, I
Maybe
could
in the
see-
second generation, because the IL's literal prerogative in the post-last battle world is the peacekeepers. So they don't want people who can channel. And I think this is also another reason that they would create their own male channeling warrior society, is because they would want the ability that if the Black Tower got out of hand, like you guys said in the Red Asha, like, oh yeah, if we need to like put people down, we can do it.
Well, but and I can even see
and-
this.
And in the chance that the Black Tower gets fucking out of hand, they've got channelers that can go up against channelers.
Well, and I can even see this as being sort of a Shaolin type of scenario, right?
A Shaolin.
Aiel come in and say, sword, really? We don't use sword. And Logain saying, okay, teach them spear, teach them bow and arrow. And can you imagine?
Yeah, well, and
can
he-
you imagine the respect that Aiel would have when they see the Two Rivers longbow and the efficiency at which the Two River fires them? They would give them much G for that.
Well, like, and this is a larger world mixing conversation that happens. About
Which is part of the Fourth Age, though.
Well, and right now we're trying to focus on the Black Tower. So, like,
But there are
again-
Two Rivers people in the Black Tower.
Again, this is what do we want to focus on? Anyways.
Well, the idea is that there are Aiel male channelers, whether or not they would come to the Black Tower. And that's my point. My point is there is
what
plenty-
do you think about the sea folk male channelers? Do you think the sea folk male channelers would come, or do you think they would just learn?
So the sea folk-
I feel like they would also optimize
yes,
their talents.
they
Like,
I
they
think
remain.
We might need to dial back in, as you were kind of saying, Leah, because now, and I love the discussion, which is why I don't even want to say maybe we need to dial it in, because we're in trying to talk about the Black Tower. We're trying to talk about like how all the other cultures will deal with the revelation of untainted male channelers.
But that is a
Which is
discussion for
important.
the Black Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, it
that's
is
why,
and
that's
it
why I
isn't.
hopped. That's why, like, I didn't want to talk about what the warrior training would exchange. I wanted to focus on the channelers.
I mean, so I think we have to operate off of an assumption of whether or not the rest of the world and the other cultures outside of the Westlands are going to entertain sending male channelers to the Black Tower, if they're even going to entertain the idea.
Yeah.
I don't think, and this is very, very much thanks to Iris Bear asking questions in live chat. Sean Chan definitely don't.
That's
Because-
a new
Oh.
perspective, though, that I did not think of.
Well,
I don't think they don't because there's nothing
actually,
preventing.
Actually,
Go ahead.
there's an interesting provision under what Tuman and Rand talk about, is that if channelers want to cross borders, and then maybe whoever a savvy negotiator could say that is the same for male channelers. So if male channelers want to cross the borders, they can. And because they're like, they basically just execute male channelers in Shan-Chan. So in Randland, if there is a male channeler, maybe he is just, depending on how the White Tower or the Black Tower negotiates it, is just able to cross that border based off of the dragon's piece that he made with Tuan.
Yeah. But there's nothing, I don't think the Shan-Chan at least facilitate the moving of male channelers into the Westlands for the Black Tower.
Oh, they're not going to make it easy. Yeah. No, they're going to be dickheads about it.
Until their culture,
dickheads.
Yeah. Until their culture of the Mane collapses on itself, which it inevitably will. Just too many people know that the Soul Dom have to also be able to channel to control the subjects of the Adam. Until that collapse happens, they're going to look at male channelers either in the same way they always have, because they don't believe the taint is gone and they're just going to continue to kill them, or they're going to see them as another source to fuel their demonic army now that they can no longer conduct raids on the Westlands and accrue more channelers.
Or this becomes a complete subterfuge where the Black Tower decides to like somehow send information into those Shan-Chan controlled lands and be like, if you're a male channeler, come out here and we'll
I think the West, at least the White Tower is going to be sitting there like trying to drop leaflet pamphlets all over.
And maybe this gets into the second generation where like we're assuming those lands mostly stay the same.
So I would say first generation, Aiel, Sea Folk, those who are receptive to the idea are going to be sending their male channelers to the Black Tower because of the stigma. We still don't trust that Saidin is cleansed or safe. However, no,
those are the two cultures. Those are the two cultures.
I know.
If anything, that the Karn and oh god, what did the Sea Folk call him? But they trust him explicitly. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
They trust him explicitly. So they're good. They're good with him. So I think they established their own. But I feel like there needs to be like eventually, like mid first generation, they start doing exchanges and study groups and all that sort of,
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. When you start,
that's mid first generation.
Yeah. Mid first generation.
They
will both start questioning, wait a minute. Are we giving up a tactical advantage by offering up our male channelers to the Black Tower? The Sea Folk, as we know, are ruthless negotiators. I don't think they'll stop sending channelers. I think they'll start asking a price.
Oh, yeah.
And if the Black Tower is not willing to pay that price, they will continue to keep their male channelers, and they will have male channelers who can help move their ships. As far as the Aiel, I think the Aiel, if they make the agreement to send channelers their way, will be honor bound to do so. If they decide not to do so, they will never do so. It's an all or nothing thing with the Aiel.
I think eventually.
Here's how I think it goes.
Oh, go ahead.
Here's how I think it goes. Through at least the first generation, at least through, let's say 75% of the first generation, as the Black Tower builds strength from all of these, because you're going to have nations that want to build strength. And they're going to look for the fastest, most effective way to build military combat strength. Because again, a piece of paper is a piece of paper. It's not signed on an oath rod or bound by an oath rod or binding chair. It's just a piece of paper. They can easily be lost, edited, or just ignored. So as the influence of the Black Tower increases and you see more and more Ashaman dedicated to soldiers traveling the Westlands, interacting with the cultures, that's when you're going to start having the Shan-Chan, the Sea Folk, and the Sarans recognizing that, hey, there is strength to be taken advantage of in the male channelers. So the Sea Folk are either going to send them to the Black Tower to train to come back, or they're just going to try to train them there.
Cross-train. I think cross-train is the words we want to use.
Yeah. So the Sea Folk, I think, is like the best case outcome for any of the kind of three foreign cultures with that. The Sarans are going to completely 100% in person, like in country, train and force them to train because they're incredibly weakened. They're humiliated by the deception of Demon Dread, which I would assume by this point they have figured out, considering he lost.
Hopefully.
And they are also not partying to the Dragon's Peace.
Well,
So they
actually,
have full reign to wage war. So they're gonna take the male challengers and keep them in Sara. And the last point to this before I'll let you go, Leah. We'll let you speak, not let you go. The Shan-Chan, I think, will continue to kill male channelers until they see the tactical advantage and a militaristic advantage. And then, as long as the Mane culture is still alive and well, which it probably will be at this point, they will start assimilating them into the Mane culture. I call it culture. It's really a horrendous practice. I shouldn't call it culture. But they will assimilate them into the practice of the Mane and Soldam, which is going to be interesting to see how that works.
That's one thing.
Until the culture or until the practice of Damani is turned on its head by the revelation that all the Soldam can take and channel as well.
Yeah.
And that's one important thing with Shan-Chan that a lot of people, I think, now don't get me wrong, I hate Shan-Chan. I'm the guy who said remove the Shan-Chan from the TV series. Like, I'm okay with that. I don't need the Shan-Chan. They're terrible and I hate them. However, post last battle, remember Matt is with them. Matt is Prince of the Ravens. Matt is in a position of authority and power. And a really great point that was brought up by Boring Sober Guy in our live chat here. Matt can possibly be the agent who talks Tuon into sending male channelers to the Black Tower as a Shan-Chan show of good faith, as a diplomatic maneuver, whatever the case may be. We know that the Shan-Chan are really good at diplomatic play, and
when it suits them,
but exactly when it suits them. So I believe their idea would be similar to the Sea Folk, which they would exact a price. If they could not get that price, they would just start training their own male
This is another episode we need to do. We need to talk about Matt and his role in the Shan-Chan.
Oh my God! Please make a note of that. Hold on.
Because
do I need to make a note of that, or are you going to make a note of that? Because
you know what, I luckily don't have to make a note of that for once.
Yeah.
I take notes, like in case you haven't noticed. I've like
and I can
had
say
a
whatever
pen in
I
my
want.
hand the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like making lots of notes.
Brief glimpse into my thoughts on that topic. I think Matt and Elaine and Avienda and all of the people we know to be influential and powerful go the same way. I don't think they're around terribly long into the Fourth Age, and I think that's incredibly important because I'll save it for the topic, and I'll probably forget it when we get to the topic. But I don't think Matt lasts long enough in Shan-Chan to affect change, and I don't think the Prince of Ravens is that powerful enough to influence Shan-Chan culture to begin with, especially as an outsider to the culture. I honestly, very quickly, because this isn't even the topic of the conversation, I think Matt gets assassinated within 10 years.
Oh,
really?
Absolutely. Like, oh yeah, for sure.
Hard disagree.
No, that's
disagree.
You know what? That is a future topic. That's a future topic. Let's not get distracted.
But
we were still like barely even touched. Like we were a little bit past time.
We're gonna need to do a part two.
We barely even touched the first generation. Like I still feel like we have so much to talk about with the first generation.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to throw this out there as my last thoughts because we do need to wrap this up.
Okay.
But I will say this as my last.
Do
thoughts.
we really?
I'm
okay.
good with
how about we
going.
pause here and schedule a part two, because you're not wrong. We could talk about this forever. We could make this a recurring segment on the show.
I'm really good with that.
If there's,
I've keep going age to age.
I've said,
we still haven't even finished the first generation conversation. Like there are so many other things that I actually have notes for. So.
I've said often enough, Rafe, I know you watch the show. Actually, I got to stop saying that because we've got confirmed that the actors watch the show.
Or they watch
not
several.
Specifically ours. Not specifically ours. But I gotta stop
Marcus,
saying
we really hope our episode on Perrin helped you and didn't really make you sit there and be like, I fucking hate these guys.
Okay, did you guys see when the season 2 trailer, season 2 trailer, when Daniel Henney was like, honestly, whenever I needed to get to know land better, I just watched the content creators. They created all these really great in-depth videos. So that helped me. So thanks, guys. And I peed myself a
there are
little.
so many actors that just do so many amazing, like they can't directly interact with us, but they passively interact with us,
Right.
which is
Which is just as good in my opinion.
the fact that they're like, oh yeah, we just watch you guys, like,
Yeah, so
yeah.
Miss Coveney, we have about 5 episodes about your baths as Elaine. So hopefully it imports the importance of milk and baths and Lenny.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. So here's this, wrapping this up. I feel like this is such a big topic.
Need to and you better fucking include me.
We'll get a part 2 on, because
At least,
needs,
whatever.
this is-
we'll get a break,
whatever.
because here in a couple weeks you'll be back to talk about an entirely different,
a completely different,
topic.
yeah. No, but I'm very passionate about this 4th age because I've researched it a lot. So
well, and that's where I was just getting ready to go with this. In my final thoughts is that the Black Tower has so much work ahead of them. They have so much work ahead of them. Logain has so much work to do. It makes sense, and that's why we have established.
All I do is work.
Zorovan Mihail, Bajan Mihail, Amin Khan Mihail, and I loved the one that Andrew pointed out earlier. What was it?
Starts with a
Coatan?
K.
Coatan?
I think it's Coatan.
Coatan Mihail.
Coanto.
Quanto Mihail. Like, these are things that make sense, because as the organization gets bigger and more complex, he's going to need more leadership to help keep that in check and organized and focused.
Absolutely.
So this conversation, that's why I say this could be a series that we do, because it's such a big job, and that should give people an idea of the enormous task at hand that Logain has ahead of him.
Absolutely.
It's not
100%.
a simple matter of, oh, the Black Tower's mine now. There's a lot of things he needs to take into account in order for the Black Tower to not only be successful as a protector in the world, but also to grow and to become stronger and to be more effective at their main goal. And I believe that throughout the 4th age, the Black Tower will be seen as a beacon of security and safety. And that's what we at the Black Tower podcast strive to establish with our own specific community, is we want people to have a place where they can come to talk, have a place to be, and have a place to feel safe. So that's my final thoughts with Black Tower in the 4th age. That's it. That's what I got to say about that.
Yeah. I'll go next, because I can't wait to hear Leah's final thoughts. We'll
give Leah the final words.
Yeah, the abridged final thoughts, given the caveat of what we've discussed this past 2 hours or so.
It's a good show.
I think a big part of it that sums it up perfectly, again, live chat, Mad Stagger, the logistics alone are scary. When you start thinking about the pure logistics of an increasingly populous Black Tower, an increasing number of male channelers, which is going to be a natural byproduct of, I don't know, not basically killing off all male channelers eventually, which we know has to happen. I mean, there's a certain degree of this that we know has to happen at some point, because time is a circle. We have to get back to a 2nd age where male channelers and female channelers together are Aes Sedai, or maybe a different name in the next turning, whatever the case is. But they're doing these incredible feats of magic and technology. Mm-hmm. We know it has to come about. Mm-hmm. And generally the biggest part of the argument is, how quickly does it come about? And to me, the easy cop-out answer is, well, what goes from 1st age to 2nd age is the rediscovery of magic. So it happens actually incredibly fast. But it's really easy to identify when a culture starts into a new age. like moving from a Stone Age into a Bronze Age, moving from a Bronze Age into an Iron Age, and then the Industrial Era. It's really easy to identify a start, how things start. But identifying how things progress towards an end has generally throughout human history and even Wheel of Time history, it's a lot more difficult to do because you have incomplete. I just got completely distracted because I saw a GIF from a YouTube channel I recognize. Anyway, you have to get from a current point that you know to a theoretical end that has to happen. And you have to arbitrarily assign what is going to denote that end. And so at some point, as much as we love the Black Tower, we also have to conceptualize in our minds an inevitable ending of the Black Tower. And then how does that happen? Does it happen as the Black Tower and the White Tower come together and then fall apart? Do they never come together and that just happens whenever channeling is rediscovered?
That's very second generation conversations.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is just to realize how much work, like Josh said, that Logain has to do post last battle. You have to legitimize the Black Tower and the Ashaman. You have to dispel the notion that all men that can channel are just going to innately go insane, kill everything, and destroy everything. The amount of work is astronomical at this point. And I don't know, maybe in November we get more indications on where this is going to go. Whenever we get the new book released, the kind of inspirations of Robert Jordan.
I got it on pre-order, and I'm so excited.
So do I.
Yeah.
So it's perpetually at the top of my Amazon saying arriving November 8th or something like that. But it's a fun discussion, and the best part about it is all 100% theoretical.
It is.
And that makes it fun because you can never honestly, for the most part, look at somebody and be like, you're absolutely wrong. Because you don't know. And stranger things have happened. But those are my final thoughts.
Leia, finish us off. Finish us.
Just to riff a little bit off of what Andrew just said, like we are making some major assumptions based off of what the continent world building looks like, but it's fun. So if we like dig into those basic assumptions, we can make generalizations of what the first age, like, and we really only dug in the first age, and I still have like so many questions on the first age. I'm not gonna lie, like I've got like a whole list on the panel that I was on previously that we had never discussed, and then I've even created like a new list for today.
I don't want to stop.
I've got questions
so
for days. Yeah,
no, for real.
I know.
Maybe
I know. Like,
you know what?
Yeah, no.
Maybe we move into Patreon chat after this and just keep fucking around with it.
No. But like, yeah, we could totally move into
I
Patreon chat and keep fucking around. But that being said, like, I think we should like y'all said, like, this is
definitely part 2 this.
Yeah, part 2, part 3, part 4, because we've like I feel like we've scratched the surface. And I mean,
we did
like
5 parts of Elaine. We can do 5 parts of Ashaman's fourth age.
Generation 1. So again, like maybe we could create some more assumptions offline that we don't have to discuss here.
Okay, new series, Black Tower Fourth Age, and we will start talking about specific generations.
Yeah, well, like again, I think there's like levels. Like we've broken down to 2 generations, but we've described an age as
at least 3,000 years.
Yeah, so there's anyways. So yeah,
we're good.
There's that's for all offline stuff. But
so
anyways, yeah, but what it comes down to is like this was a fucking phenomenal conversation. I still have lots of fucking questions. I'm glad that you guys entertained all my questions and you had great answers for it and allowed me to sass back whenever I could. Because, like, you know,
I will say, in true IEL fashion, you came into our show and interviewed us. Like, only an IEL could keep control of the room in that manner. So,
I
okay,
am,
first,
I am the roof mistress. So
thank you, Leia, Roof Mistress. We have tremendously appreciated your presence here. Go ahead and tell people where they can find you. Once again, for those who aren't paying attention at the beginning of the episode.
So once again, I am a participant on Threefold Talks, which you can find if you YouTube Malkier Talks. So he's our token wetlander. He hosts us, and
much
it
toe.
is for IEL. Well, 2 of us are maidens, and 2 of us are wise ones, roof mistresses, whatever you want to call us. Yeah, and we have our token wetlander, the Malkier, who just like talk about random ass shit sometimes.
Love
And
it.
it's all Wheel of Time based, and it's amazing. And again, crossover fans. I think everybody I've seen in chat today is a Foldy. So
And if you want to have some super amazing content, go look at the Malkier Talks 1,000 subscriber celebration on YouTube, and you get to see me and Andrew and Leia in a sweat tent.
in the sweat tent, we did.
I'm just
that.
saying.
We
just
totally
saying.
did that. And I
It
was
happened.
totally sober at that point. Now
That's
that I'm totally sober,
the Black
now,
Tower
I was
gets
like,
Leia
you
in the
have-
sweat tent.
you have
totally
toe
sober.
now. You have toe for that.
oh no, I have G for that. Please.
No, you have G for your conduct, but you have toe for deliberately saying you were sober.
Oh yeah,
I am
have
so
G.
glad
That was a
that I
joke.
had
That was,
not taken
that was
a
an
joke.
IEL
I
joke
said
that
that.
you wetlanders don't get. Okay,
I think it
So-
cancels out.
No, yeah, you.
I think
you
I
just
think
don't-
it cancels out
you
with
just
a
don't
massive
get- you
bonus
just
to G though.
You just don't get the IEL.
You just don't get it.
You know what?
You
I,
just
I
don't
learned
get
G
it.
a toe from
Do you,
Choff IL,
Scott?
so I think I understand it. All right.
Mini me likes chocolate. Scotty do.
Yeah, sure,
But-
sure. That works.
But thank you everyone so much for listening. Leia, again, thank you so much for very, very last minute hopping in to join us on
No
this
problem.
episode.
It was fun.
We cannot say thank you enough. And guys, seriously, check out Threefold Talk. Check out everything
lot
Malkier
of
Talks
fun.
does as well.
A lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's fantastic. They're fantastic episodes. They're hilarious. They're insightful. And sometimes you learn stuff about yourself that may surprise you because they give some pretty good advice too when you need it. But go and definitely check that out. Subscribe and like not only to Malkier Talks for Threefold Talk, but subscribe and like this video on
right
YouTube.
here.
Like it as well on whatever podcasting app. And do please, if you enjoy what we do, or even if you don't, leave a review. Because it does help us out immensely and it gives us guidance on maybe how we can improve in the future or what we should keep doing that you enjoy. If you want more of our stuff, blacktowerpod.com. Everything's there. You can find it all there. Promise you, it's there. Some way, shape,
all
or
of it.
form.
All of it.
All of it. If you want to become to be able to access some of these live recordings, blacktowerpod.com gives you a link to our Patreon for just $1 a month. You can do that as well. And there's some pretty nifty benefits. I think so, but I'm also biased because we made the benefits and they're pretty dope.
Well, and you
can
can live chat and have us
Yeah.
respond to you.
That's
Yeah.
also
Or them, not just me, because I'm not.
Whoever's here. Whoever's here.
here.
whoever's here.
And with that, go and check out newcreationsbyjen.com. There we have a new shot glass available there. Go and check it out. It's dope. I can't wait to get one. I'm going to definitely have to order one.
Yeah.
And then again, if you need energy, Dubby has a ton of amazing flavors. They boast being jitterless energy, no artificial coloring, no artificial flavors, none of that jazz. It's very, very good for you if you're going to use some sort of energy supplement. And you can definitely find a flavor that you're going to absolutely love. And they have an anime waifu. I mean, come on. What else do you need? Energy and anime waifus. Come on.
That's it.
Right?
Win.
But you can click the link in the show notes or the show description to get 10% off, or you can just use code BTP as in Black Tower Podcast to get 10% off your order. And every order that you use the code on does help support what we do here at Black Tower Podcast. But for all of us here at the Black Tower Podcast, thank you again so much. And I have been your Bajan Mahil Andrew.
And I have been your Sorovan Mahale, Josh, and we hope you've left this recording just a little bit more insane than you were when you first started.
Our Almond Khan Mahale, Daniel, thanks you as much. He is here in spirit, and we cannot wait to have him back here in the tower, back from duties. I'm sure he'll have a fantastic report that, or
Duties.
not. It might be classified. It might be sealed to the taint, which
Sealed
is a whole
to the
new
taint.
level of seal.
It's a whole new. You're not ready for that.
Yeah. But in the infamous words of Daniel, we hope you have a fantastic morning. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
In the tower, you can bring your pain. In the tower, you can feel the strain. You've been having so much trouble just fitting in.